Hey, what's up? What's good? It's your Kidsino back at you again with another episode of Black Tea Party. So let's get into it. All right, so today we're gonna talk about something that is a conversation I've had with a few people, and honestly, I don't really run into a lot of controversy when I talk about this. I feel like most people just skim over it anyway because of the economy wise. It's kind of not really even a topic I talk about too much anymore. The way things are looking, who knows, right? So, I've talked to y'all about me being non-binary and how that is for me. I will say I personally there's a couple of things it affects. I think that differs from other people is that I don't really consider myself a lesbian. I don't mind being called the lesbian, but do I personally identify as a lesbian? It's complicated. It's just because of how my gender expression is. I just tell people when it comes to spicy things, what's in the pants has to be female, to keep it 100. That's kind of my one, that's my one thing, right? But other than that, just because I don't necessarily identify as a woman, I don't necessarily feel super aligned with the lesbian term. I really when queer came out, queer is the umbrella term, and I really just stay in that bubble. So that being said, one thing that I personally have always wanted though is to carry a child. Now I will say as time goes on, my thoughts on this waiver for two reasons, honestly. One is the economy. Will I even have kids is a very big one, because the way things are looking in the atmosphere, things are very much stacked up against queer peoples and childbearing, and how that looks, especially if in a partnership, how that looks between you and your partner, right? And how complicated it is to get the paperwork settled and out the way, so that way you don't run across issues down the line, God forbid if something happens to one of you, who gets the kids, all that kind of stuff. So number one would be the economy. Really affects how I in every moment view me having kids, right? And then two, which is a little more personal, is that I want top surgery at some point. I don't know what that's gonna look like. Right now I'm just but it's something I've thought about for over a decade now, since I was a teenager, and it's especially been on my mind a lot lately. And I always was well, I'll just wait till I have kids, but now it's looking I might not have children till 30, 35, because it's pretty expensive route. It kind of fluctuates, because I think about breastfeeding and things like that, and that is something that's part of the experience that I would at least want to try. Does that make sense? And so I feel that also changes the way I feel about if I will want to personally give birth to children or not. I am not necessarily squeamish about it though. I feel a lot of, now obviously there's just some people who are I never I want children, but I just never want to give birth to children, and that's fine. Everyone knows their body. I think we have to stop putting telling women or female body people that because they have this they should be doing these things that doesn't go for everyone, and everyone has their different reasons for why or why not they might not want to have kids, whether albeit trauma, just gender identity, if that's a space they're comfortable in, especially when it comes to masculine women. I do feel a lot of times, because of heteronormative expectations, masculine women, as they're coming into that form that well, I don't need to have a kid because at least I have a wife, there's two people here that can have children. But I have also seen a lot of masculine women have kids, and I feel like it's a beautiful it looks to be a beautiful experience and journey all the way around. And I know, like, even like with trans men that have children, like, I mean, it still affects their gender state, you know, but there's no regrets. And I personally am someone who would like to experience that. I mean, I am putting in the work monthly to for that exact reason. You know, I know, like, your period has other purposes. I shouldn't say probably. It definitely has other purposes as far as regulating hormone and things of that nature. But, like, its main purpose is for reproduction, right? Like, it is clearing you out and, like, pushing things through. Your whole menstruation cycle is about reproduction. Also, if you feel free to slide on to the next video if this makes you uncomfortable, okay? But, like, so for me too, I feel like I come from a very nurturing space. I've always loved to be the one that was, like, helping taking care of my, like, younger cousins or other kids around. I have a very concerned eye when, like, children are just around, and I'm like, what's going on? Like, is anyone watching you guys? Like, what's happening? Like, I feel like I definitely step into that nurturing and maternal role a lot if a child is present. And when it comes to, like, actually being pregnant, because I just feel like, well, and this is, like I said, I feel like every woman decides for themselves, and every female bodied person decides for themselves how exactly their bodies are, I feel like, put to work is a crazy statement, but, like, that's all that's coming to mind right now, are put to work. And for me personally, I just feel like that's one of the things I would like to at least experience once. I mean, my uterus is not going anywhere. I have no plans on taking it out. So, I mean, I might as well just, like, you know, use this little bit of power and bring life into the world. I think that's a beautiful experience, and that's not something that I personally want to miss out on. Like I said, though, like, with me, like, really, the thing I'm craving really right now, and craving, also a crazy word, but it's really what it feels like. It's like a craving, is, like, getting top surgery. Like, I'm getting older, you know, I'm at a time in my life where, like, I'm just really coming into, like, my body and myself, and that's, like, one of the things that, like, always comes up, like, the more I work out and the more I get fit. And it's so crazy because I literally watched someone's, like, video, and they had, like, detransition, but I have no intentions of becoming a man, though, but, like, they had detransition from FTM to, like, back into their female body, and they're like, what I really needed was just a good workout routine. And, like, but I feel like with the workout routine, my mind is actually more like, okay, like, you are doing all the things that you want to do, working on your body, but the only thing left is to, like, get rid of them things, you know. And I'm just like, you're right. Like, like, it's bothering me. But, like, I always felt like, you know, like, I would hold on to them for until I had, like, kids. But I'm like, I don't know if, like, I can make it to the point where I have kids before I'm like, I gotta just do this. And so that's kind of like the point of life I'm at right now. But, like, I feel like whenever I tell people that are outside of the queer spectrum, because I feel like most queer people, they don't really give a fuck. Like, I should watch my language, but they don't give a fuck. They're just like, you know, because being queer and, like, gender identity and all these things, like, if they're within those circles. Now, I know there are some gay people that are like, they still are kind of like whatever when it comes to gender, but, like, most of them, like, they're just like, their minds are open to whatever, because it's just like, okay, like, that is your human experience that you're living, and because they are also living, like, similar experiences, it's not as much of a to be like, like, you want to, like, have a kid even though, like, you're queer, you know, or you identify more in, like, a masculine position, like, because I do identify as more of a masculine type. in like day-to-day life and even in like my relationships. But I noticed like when I've told like straight friends that I've had or heterosexual friends that I've had in the past, they're like, they seem genuinely surprised, you know? And I feel like, I don't think having a child is gonna necessarily make me more feminine. I think like having a child is a very feminine act. I mean, like, it's definitely like giving birth and like bringing life to something. I think that kind of nurture is very maternal and it's very feminine, right? And I think during the time of like being pregnant, I will probably align more with femininity, you know, and I'm not opposed to exploring those sides of myself. Me saying I'm a masculine type has nothing to do with like me restricting myself from femininity. It's just when I tap into femininity, it's not where I feel most at home. So therefore, like, I vibe more in a masculine space or more in like an in-between space. So I find it really interesting that when like heterosexual people are like, oh, you want to have a kid someday? Like, you know, because I wear like, I wouldn't even say I wear boy clothes. Like, I just wear regular clothes, you know, that are not necessarily like confined by anything. And so when they hear like, oh, you want to have a child someday, they're like very shocked because they're like, look at you. And I feel like that's kind of crazy. Like, you have to open up your minds. And I always tell them like, well, I do have a vagina. So therefore, me wanting a child shouldn't come as that much surprise. And I always, whenever like a mass woman shares her journey of like being pregnant, or mass person shares their journey of like being pregnant, I always find it so crazy, like how in like comments and stuff, people are like, oh, there's two kinds of rude comments. Like, one is like, how can you do this? Like, if you wanted to be a boy, like, which, come on now, this is 2026. No one, like, if someone doesn't say they want to be a boy, they don't want to be a boy, right? So like, y'all gotta get that out of your heads. But like, it's generally like a very mix of like, oh, like, how can you be pregnant if you're like trying to live like a man and shit, which is just ignorant. And then the other ones are like, which I feel like these ones, they feel like they're saying the right thing, but like, this is also rude and disrespectful when you're like, oh, like, see, you are a woman, like, this is why, like, you need to like accept your like your womanness or whatever. Like comments of that nature are so like crazy to me, because it's like, one, if no one ever said they want to be a boy, and like a lot of mass women, and like honestly, as a lot of people perceive me, a stud, have always been like, I am a woman. They don't need to be reminded of their womanness. I feel like they got pregnant, they understand, and it's like, this is not going to change the game, right? I think too, like, people are like, oh, like when they're like, hear that mass people want to be pregnant or get pregnant, you know, they're like, oh, like, they feel like it's like an ulterior of like, oh, are you straight now? And it's like, that's not the case. Like, everyone deserves the right to have children when they feel they're ready. I feel like straight people, they be popping out kids left and right, even when it's like unsure like where their next meal is coming from, and they still have kids. So why is it so concerning when like a person who has deemed that this is the right time in their life, they're fine, hopefully financially stable, and have healthy relationships around them and a good support system, that they feel like, oh, I could have a kid right now, and that would be cool, that would be good with me. Like, I never understand like the confusion. Like, that's still that person's choice, just like it's any like straight couples or straight person's choice to like do what they do and have a baby, even if they shouldn't, you know, and no one ever says anything to them. I mean, some people do, but like, I don't think we say enough sometimes, but that's besides the point, you know. But whenever like queer people, and especially people who are genderqueer, have children, and what people deem unconventionally, it becomes like this huge thing, and like it then becomes like, oh, well, this person must be like extra confused because they decided to go forth with this. And I don't really think it's that. Like, I simply, like, this is a want of mine. And when the time is right, like, I will pursue this want, however it goes. Say I'm in a partnership with someone. So therefore, they might go first. Just all factors doing what they do. But I do wonder, because, like, at that point, I do think I will have top surgery by then. I do wonder how that will affect me a lot mentally. That's like the only, like, my only question in the air. But, like, I don't think it makes me any more or less. I don't think it makes me any more feminine to want to carry a child, because I've never, like, denied that I have female parts. I just, you know, I'm just living my human experience, and this is how I feel most comfortable. So that's just a quick little chat, little topic for y'all. Let me know how you feel in the comments below. Like, do you know any masculine women in your life that have had children, or are you in a relationship with someone and they're like, they actually want to carry, you know? Is that like a new feeling for you? Like, would you feel comfortable if, like, you were dating a masculine presenting woman and they told you to carry? I also think a lot of this comes too with time and maturity, right? Like, I'm looking at the other side of 30 right now. So or I shouldn't say that. I'm looking at 30 right now. Like, I'm on the other side of my 20s, and I've had a lot of, even though this is something I've known I wanted since I was a teenager, I've had a lot of time to still mature and to come into that. And, like, I see one couple that, like, really comes into mind is, no, that's not theirs. It's Ash and Red. I cannot think of their username right now, though. I don't feel like is it Team Two Moms? No, but I feel like Team Two Moms is, like, the Denise couple. Well, even them too, but, like, there's, like, a couple of, like, couples that I've seen, and, like, you know, they're, like, in their mid to late 30s going on 40, and, like, the more masculine presenting person chooses to have a kid at that point, because they're like, you know, because I feel like that's growth and maturity. You know, when they were younger and, like, very much in, like, their masculine energy, they feel like, you know, like, oh, well, I just let my wife handle that, she's more feminine. But then, like, as you get older, you start to want to experience things because you can, and because, like, your body is made to do certain things. And if, like, that, and if your mind and your body are connected, then you want to pursue that. And I feel like that's perfectly natural, and it doesn't make any of them any less masculine. Like, both of those couples, the masculine counterparts still very much so wear sweats, you know, do the hustle. But, like, it's also different because they're two ladies. Okay. Again, for another day. But yeah, like, let me know how you feel down in the comments below. Have you seen any of these couples online? Have they inspired you to change your mind? I don't know. This, like I said, just a little tidbit, and I'm gonna get back to you guys in the next one.